Include usual shilling, like, comment, subscribe, share, rate, whatever. Let's begin this video talking about one of the best Blood Angels characters, I would say, in all Warhammer. Not just the Horus Heresy, but in all Warhammer. Yes, even compared to Dante or Mephiston, this one takes the cake.
Farewell, happy fields, where joy forever dwells. Hail, horrors! Hail, infernal world!
Meros was a junior medici, basically an apothecary, who served under the 9th Company. Of course, commanded by Captain Furio himself. And his story is interesting.
We're under attack! Is it the Nephilim?
From fear to dread, we remember that moment Sanguinius had to put down his own son thanks to the Red Thirst. But what happened after that? Well, after Sanguinius had to put down his own son in terrible tragedy, Chapter Master Laldoron called for Meros to come and take the gene seed of the fallen Blood Angel. Take it away. Now, it was weird for Meros because it was in the chapel, it didn't make that much sense, and there was something strange about the brother he was operating on. But he did his job dutifully because he was an apothecary. He was loyal to his legion, as any Blood Angel should be, or was. And so he saw nothing wrong with that. It was a peculiar case, that is true. But he took the gene seed out of his fallen brother. What happened next was weird for Meros, because the chapter master ordered the young apothecary to never speak of this again.
It looks like many battle brothers survived the
what
crash.
happened here was only between the two of them. There was no fallen Blood Angel in the chapel, and there was no gene seed extracted. Meros wanted to put the gene seed in his own pack, of course, to be reused
I must protect those in my care.
for the future members of the Legion. But the chapter master took it from him and also told him that that as well doesn't exist, the gene seed from that. It was strange for Meros to see this, but dutiful as ever, he agreed to what the chapter master said, and he agreed to never speak of it again. Then, Laldoron took an inkstone from Baal Primus, if I'm correct, and turned the fallen Blood Angel's armor from red to black. Interesting, right? This whole black thing for the fallen. We have this till day thanks to the Black Rage. But it's nice to see that the chapter master back then used it for the Red Thirst. We move from this event, some standard years later, to the war the Blood Angels would have against the Dark Eldar in the Nartaba Octus planet. Poor Meros was part of the Blood Angels group that had to evacuate the human population of the scientific colony before exterminatus would be brought upon the planet, because so vile are the Dark Eldars. They kinda corrupt everything around them, willingly of course, thanks to their own weapons. Meros was part of the rear guard, the last of the people that would go out from the planet before his tragic fate. And because of that, while Meros was tending to a poor innocent civilian, Dark Eldar shot him in the back and poisoned him. There's no rest for the wicked, is there? But don't think this just a mere poison that ends you. No. This was a poison made specifically to eat away at not only the flesh of the victim, but also his very soul. In a desperate move, Sergeant Cassio and Brother Sarga would put Meros inside the golden sarcophagi. Now, this sarcophagi, let's say it's that, this is used by the Blood Angels today and even back then, as a way to initiate recruits. Kind of a way they need to pass this test of being in the sarcophagi, and the coffin, the blood coffin, is a better name for it, for them to become true warriors, true battle brothers of the chapter/legion. And yeah, it was a desperate measure, but the plan was that maybe this blood coffin would be able to cure Meros of his poison. He was already in a coma by that point, so might as well try to replace the bad blood with the good blood. What happened was that during his state, Meros met someone. He met Raffin, who was also in the blood coffin. The same blood coffin, in
We will
fact.
lose this war unless we
But you
kill the
see,
thing that started
only
it.
10,000 years in the future. Yeah, that's timely, wildly, whatever. Warhammer 40k stuff.
If we must
Doesn't
slice
matter.
through
Still
endless
pretty cool.
horrors, we will.
And there they would get to converse a little until the Sanguiner came, the golden figure that saves Dante every time he wants to be done with it. And Raffin, by this point, he has an understanding of what the Sanguinor is and its power and importance to the chapter, but instinctively he raises his bolter at it. Yes, somehow he had the bolter, don't ask how. He raised his bolter at this angelic figure. Meros, seeing a golden warrior with wings, of course makes the logical conclusion that that is Sanguinius, and he must protect his Primarch. And so Meros and Raffin would start fighting. But this will soon be stopped thanks to the apparition of some mysterious, shadowy figures. And the two Blood Angels, one from the past and one from the future, would have to work together to defeat them. And so they would do, their brotherhood growing in size. Raffin would understand what's the meaning of this meeting. And before both warriors were awoken from their slumber, Raffin managed to say to Meros only one word: Horus. He wanted to tell him everything, but the Sanguiner motioned that he shouldn't do that by putting a finger up to his lips. And then, both warriors woke up at the same time, 10,000 years apart, to their respective timelines and leaders. As Achilleon, or whatever his name is, the commander of the Sanguinary Guard, personally came to see how Meros was doing, thinking he's gonna be dead, congratulated him, admired his resilience, and told every Blood Angel there that their Primarch has called upon the whole Legion for one important mission, for one war, with orders directly from Horus Lupercal himself. They would go to the Cygnus Cluster. Yeah, this is a tragic one. On Cygnus Prime, Meros and a few others would try to purge the planet and make it safe, but they would find humans kind of messed up, shall we say. They would find them in states that you really shouldn't find humans, no matter how much they get butchered. Becoming boneless or muscleless. The blood of the fallen was of a pinkish hue, more like what you would see in the warp than on a regular human being. Meros, a few others, and a group of loyal word bearers were sent to occupy Hive City. The Hive City itself turned against the warriors of the Emperor, slaying a bunch of them. Meros even got the little chance to see a fallen word bearer, and he observed that, strange, the word bearer's blood was also of the same pinkish hue tone. But before he could do anything, the word bearer captain told him to let his warrior rest in peace.
It will be made, but not by you.
Except the city was still trying to fight them. Of course, Captain Amit, the first chapter master of the Flesh Terrors, came
The
in
angel
to the
cannot
rescue,
fall.
which was very nice of him, and help this story continue, because it gets darker from here on out. On Cygnus Prime, Sanguinius would get knocked out by a demon called, what was it again? Giras the Perverse? No. He got knocked out unconscious by the bloodthirster Cabanza. That's an evil one. And Meros was part of the strike team that was supposed to destroy a demon fortress and save their Primarch. Now, if you guess that a good chunk of the Blood Angels started to suffer from the Red Thirst, you would be correct. Of course, it wouldn't be all of them. Those under command of the Chapter Master were still normal. Moving on back to our main character, Meros and his squad fought through a huge number of demonettes and bloodletters, of course, to get to the Cathedral of the Mark. And it was during this confrontation, while they made their way to the Primarch, Meros was coming to his fate. Don't worry about Sanguinius. He would wake up and throw the bloodthirst or whatever, off the cathedral. But it was then that Kairos, the Perverse, came and offered Sanguinius an interesting deal. A way to save his children from the Red Thirst. Of course, created thanks to the help of Erebus and Fabius Bile alongside the demon, using the half-dead body of Captain Tagas. Now, if you don't know who Captain Tagas is, he was a member of the Blood Angels during the Great Crusade. He was the captain of the 111th Company, and he was very wounded during the War on Murder. So, you know, it's getting disgusting. But that's what happens when you deal with chaos. Of course, Kairos told Sanguinius that Tagas was in a way responsible for this, but that the demon would give salvation to the Blood Angels only if Sanguinius would jump into a pool of blood and hatred. Remember, Sanguinius was one of the good Primarchs, one that cared more about his sons than others, and he was willing to take it. To save them from the Red Thirst? Go right ahead. But you see, Meros came in and had other ideas. He would not let his Primarch become fully corrupted by chaos just so his sons could live. What would be the point then for them to live with no curse if their Primarch was no more? So Meros took it upon himself to volunteer to jump into the vortex himself. Sanguinius tried to go after him, but Meros was smart. He cut off his own gene seed and gave it to Sanguinius, and told him that this was his job. At the end, Sanguinius would come out, he would not become corrupted. But what happened of Meros is quite tragic. He would become corrupted by anger and hatred. He would no longer be Meros. He would be the Red Angel. I know, funny, he has the same name as Ankron. Let's move from there. At the first sight of this, Sanguinius asked the demon in front of him. There's still something left of his son in there. The demon, either telling the truth to spite Sanguinius or lying to hurt him, says that there is a part of Meros still in there. Sanguinius would manage to defeat the Perverse and the Red Angel and move forward with, the Horus Heresy happening and all that. But that's not the end of it. For you see, the Red Angel would come to Horus and offer his services in his war against the Emperor, and he would offer them in a pretty interesting way, promising to be the tool to bring down the Emperor. I guess that's what it says in the Vengeful Spirit book. It's a pretty interesting one to see the Red Angel in there, especially when you have the context of Fear to Tread that we had earlier. It's very interesting. and it creates a nice tension that is probably going to be used during the End and the Death Volume 2. But this is not where Meros' story ends. He's not relegated to just be a Horus Heresy character, and that's it. For he plays an important role in the history of the Blood Angels. You see, what connected Raffen with Meros was not only the same blood coffin, the same golden sarcophagi, also the fact that Raffen, well, his gene seed is that of Meros, and he is proud to have it. And that's an interesting way to connect them, to have them talk to each other, and have this hope that maybe the Sanguinar didn't mess things up. Things would have ended differently for Meros.
At least part of me will live on.
And true, Meros is quite a tragic character. But he represents the nobility, the sacrifice, and the loyalty that the Blood Angels have, not only to the Imperium, but also to their Primarch. And it speaks a great lot of when it comes to the sacrifice that Meros makes. The idea to sacrifice himself so his Primarch wouldn't have to. In truth, Meros is what many loyalist Space Marines should hope to become, should hope to be. Semper Fidelis. Anyway, I hope you like this, and I'll see you in the next one.